All right, sorry about that. I missed the kickoff of the game. South Carolina currently has the ball. It is second and about 6 for South Carolina. Score 0-0. 13:50 in the second quarter. Sellers in shotgun. He's going to get free a little bit, but then he's going to be stopped just shy of the first down. Makes it 3rd and about 1 for South Carolina. All right. Yeah, that was a little bit of a weird situation there. The game was supposed to kick off actually, it did kick off at 3:50 Eastern. We were told all day that it was supposed to be 3:30, but then it kicked off at 3:50 for some unknown reason. Here we go, 3rd and 1. Sellers in the shotgun. Looks like he's going to be by himself in the shotgun for this play. Sellers takes the snap, looks for the first down, gets it, and some. Stopped right around the midfield stripe. 1st and 10, South Carolina. Sellers so far has been the offense for South Carolina, running the ball. And honestly, I think he's going to be the offense for South Carolina until Alabama can do something to stop him, to where South Carolina has to go with something else. 1st and 10, Sellers in the shotgun, looking to throw. Throws it out to his receiver, gets the first down and some. Gain of about 12 yards on the play. 1st and 10, South Carolina. That was number 1 for South Carolina, was the receiver on the play. Clock is ticking. South Carolina has eaten so far about 3 minutes off the clock in this opening drive of the game. Here we are, Sellers in shotgun. Tosses it off to number 26 for South Carolina. Gets about an 8-yard gain on the play. 2nd and 2 for South Carolina. South Carolina comes into the game with a record of 3-4. Alabama coming into the game with a record of 6-1. That's not going to matter here. You have two teams looking to prove themselves. Here we go, 2nd and 2. Sellers in shotgun, hands it off to his running back. No, he faked the handoff. Thank goodness that South Carolina player, number 6, whoever he is, could not hang on to the ball there, because nobody was on number 6 for South Carolina, but he couldn't hang on to that pass from Sellers. I don't know if he dropped the ball or Sellers didn't throw it right. But anyway, here's a crucial 3rd and 2 for South Carolina. Alabama holds them here. It's probably a field goal for South Carolina to take the first lead. Here he goes. Sellers in the shotgun. Sellers in shotgun. South Carolina not too good on 3rd downs here, but we also do not have a 3rd down defense. Here we go. Takes the snap. Looking to throw. Has nowhere to throw. Now he's going to look to run it. Brought down for a 2-yard gain, but that's enough for a first down for South Carolina, right around the 29-yard line of Alabama. Not a good first defensive drive for Alabama here. Got to find some way to get South Carolina off the field or hold them to a field goal. And again, that common theme that we've seen from Alabama is not being able to stop the mobile quarterback. Sellers is pounding it right up the heart of Alabama. Here we are in shotgun. Sellers again looking to throw. Surprise, a flag didn't fly on the play. But anyway, Alabama only holds them to a 1-yard gain right there. 2nd and 9 for South Carolina. Clock ticking to about 10.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. There's 2 Sellers that's on South Carolina. I wonder if they're related. There was a Jay Sellers, and of course we have the Norris Sellers, number 16. Anyway, here we go. 2nd and 9, Sellers in shotgun. Rolls out to his right, looking to throw. Throws it. Complete to number 6. I'm looking to see who number 6 is. It's Murph, number 6 for South Carolina. 1st and 10, South Carolina. Again, not a good first offensive drive here for Alabama on defense. South Carolina taking a lot of time off the clock here in their first drive of the game. Here we go, 1st and 10. Sellers in the shotgun. Hands it off. Gains of about 3 yards on the play. Brings up about 2nd and 7 for South Carolina. Alabama red zone defense has been one of the best in the nation. See if they can find some way to either hold South Carolina to a field goal or potentially even hold them to no points if they can force a turnover here. We saw them do that last week against Tennessee with the 100-yard pick six. Here we go. Second, officially ruled 2nd and 6 for South Carolina. Sellers in the shotgun. Hands it off to number 26. I believe that's Fuller on the run. Gets about 4 on the play. Brings up 3rd and 2 for South Carolina. No, excuse me. Correction. Number 28 was the running back for South Carolina on the play. Here we are, 3rd and 2. Sellers in the shotgun. New running back on the play, number 1. Hands it off to number 1. He's going to get absolutely nowhere. Actually loses about 3 yards on the play. Nice stand there for Alabama's defense on 3rd down. Let's see if South Carolina decides to go for it or if they kick it off. It looks like, according to Shane Beamer, he's going to send his field goal unit. Sellers is trotting off the field. And, yep, they're going to go ahead and kick the field goal. See if they can get a 3-point lead to go up early. Bama had trouble stopping the running quarterback, but once they got into the red zone, Bama was able to stop them. Here we go with the field goal. And boots it right through on the 24-yard field goal attempt. 7:32 left to go in the first quarter. The score, South Carolina 3, Alabama 0. Bama's first offensive drive of the game is coming up when we get back, so we'll see how the Alabama offense, led by quarterback Ty Simpson, is going to be able to do when the game comes back from commercial break. I'm going to look for some key scores in the SEC while we're at the break here. Right as this game is going on, we have Vanderbilt versus Missouri. That is 0-0. Final score from earlier: Ole Miss 34, Oklahoma 26, Auburn 32. No, I'm sorry, Auburn 33, Arkansas 24. Some key games we got later on at 3:15 Central, so 4:15 Eastern. Those of you watching on the East Coast, got Texas versus Mississippi State. So in about a little bit over 15 minutes, Texas versus Mississippi State. Later on tonight in prime time, you got Texas A&M, the number 3 team in the nation, taking on LSU, the number 20 ranked team in the nation. Texas A&M has not won in Death Valley, though, since becoming a member of the SEC. See if they can somehow do that, or if LSU can finally find the team that they were supposed to be all year. And then at 6:45 p.m. Central, we got Tennessee looking to get back to their winning ways after the crushing defeat against Alabama when they play Kentucky. Meanwhile, of course, in this game, South Carolina got a field goal. They had the first possession of the game. And now Alabama looking to respond as they take their first offensive drive in the next few minutes. Still at commercial break. course, this game is also going to have some heavy implications for the college football playoff, which they just showed an advertisement for on the screen. And now it looks like we're back from commercial here in the South Carolina versus Alabama game from South Carolina's William Bryce Stadium. South Carolina set to kick off. Kickoff is in the air, and it's going to go. Don't see where it went. I think it went out the back of the end zone. Here we go. Can Ty Simpson and the Alabama offense answer what South Carolina just did? Miller in the backfield. Simpson under center. Hands it off to Bernard. Bernard looks for a little bit of room. Gets maybe 3 on the carry. Brings up about second and 7 for Alabama. Simpson in a shotgun. Hands it off to Miller. Miller had a brief bit of room, but it closes up quickly. Gains about 2 on the play. Brings up 3rd and about 5 for Alabama. Officially ruled 3rd and 4 for Alabama. Simpson by himself in the shotgun. No, excuse me. He has a man with him. Simpson in the shotgun. Looking to throw. Gets ran down from behind for a 1-yard loss. Brings up 4th and 5 for Alabama. And yep, Alabama's going to punt on their first drive. First time, I believe, all year that Bama's been forced to punt on their first drive. No, I think maybe Vanderbilt too, but not too often this year you've seen Bama forced to punt on the opening drive. Punt is in the air. Blake Dowd, the punter. Retrieved by number 4 for South Carolina, and he's going to be corralled right around the 18-yard line, which is where South Carolina will take over 1st and 10. See if Bama can recover from that disastrous first defensive drive where they allowed Sellers to basically carve up the field and then get a field goal. Be right back. Right, I'm back. Game is not back yet for commercial break. All right, so it looks like it's about to be back from commercial as they're showing a montage of the last time South Carolina beat Alabama, which was in the 2010 season. Coincidentally, having taken place in William Brice Stadium, which is where this game is being played at. It looks like that 2010 team that upset Alabama is being recognized here tonight, or this afternoon, I should say. Here comes the second offensive drive for South Carolina. Score 3-0, 5:27 left to go in the first quarter. Sellers in shotgun. Fakes the handoff, now looks to throw. Got forced out of the pocket. Incomplete pass. No, wait. Are they ruling that it was a backwards pass? That did not look like a backwards pass from this angle. That looked more like an incomplete pass. But they're ruling that it was a fumble. They're ruling it was a fumble and that Alabama returned it. Touchdown, Bama, if this stands. Want to see that replay. You can see Sellers. He looked. Oh, wait. It wasn't an incomplete pass. It deflected off the South Carolina receiver. Number 1 was the intended receiver for South Carolina. He bobbles it up, caught by the Alabama's number 7, and returned for a pick 6. Extra point is good. So just like that, it turns from South Carolina up 3-0 with the ball to now Alabama has the lead off of that pick 6. Somewhere, hold on 1 second. 5:10 left to go in the first quarter to score. Alabama 7, South Carolina 3. Quick drive forces a turnover and return for a touchdown. Again, I did not. If you were watching that in real time, you would have thought that was an incomplete pass. In fact, the camera angle fooled me into thinking it was an incomplete pass. But no, South Carolina's receiver just bobbles the ball up, and then Alabama's player comes up with it, returned it all the way for a touchdown. So now Alabama's got the lead with their lone score being a defensive interception. Well, hello there. Yeah, we'll see the answer to that question in about 2 weeks. In the meantime, don't you all have the number 4 team in the nation coming up tonight? I picked LSU to win that one simply because we haven't seen, at least in my lifetime, Texas A&M get the win in Baton Rouge. Some much better Texas A&M teams have fallen to much worse LSU teams in Tiger Stadium. So that's why I'm picking LSU to win this one. But if LSU does not win that game, oh boy, do I think there's going to be a big shuffling of the deck in Baton Rouge that may or may not involve a new coach. Try to see some other scores around the SEC. Not that much happening in the SEC on this side of the slate. They're mostly happening, or they either mostly happened already in the noon slate, or they're going to happen later in the primetime slate. Still no score so far in the Missouri Vanderbilt game. And that's pretty much it. Still waiting on the kickoff for Texas versus Mississippi State as well. The thing also to keep a watch on too in the SEC is that you have before the week started, you had 6 teams that were 1 loss. Oklahoma just lost to Ole Miss, who was another 1-loss team in the SEC. So that puts Oklahoma way behind the race. In a few weeks, you have Georgia playing Texas, both of whom are 1-loss SEC teams. So one of them is going to be knocked out the race. So if either Alabama or Texas A&M falls before SEC championship, which is an outside possibility given that Alabama and Texas A&M do not play each other. But if they do, if one of them loses, they have to contend against like 4 or so 1-loss teams in the SEC, assuming some of them don't fall where they're not supposed to. Here we go. The kickoff just went out through the end zone, so South Carolina is going to get the ball at their own 25-yard line. 5:17 officially left to go in the first quarter. Here we go. 1st and 10 for South Carolina. Score, if you're just tuning in, Alabama 7, South Carolina 3. Sellers in shotgun for South Carolina. Hands the ball off, but he's going to have absolutely nowhere to go. Loss of about 3 on the play. 2nd and 13 for South Carolina. Bama defense was having trouble on South Carolina's first drive of the game, stopping the run. But now they're looking to improve a lot. But we'll see what happens the next time Sellers has the ball in his hands. Here he goes. 2nd and 13. Sellers in shotgun. Was looking to throw, but then he flipped it out to number 17. Gets a bunch of yards there. Going to end up being about 3rd and 4 for South Carolina. So here we go. Can Alabama get South Carolina off on 3rd and short? That was the weakness on the first drive, was getting out South Carolina off on 3rd and short. Here we go. 3rd and 4. Sellers in shotgun. Almost caused Alabama to jump. But luckily, they held off just in time. Sellers looking to throw. Broken up at the last second. Brings up 4th and 4 for South Carolina. So let's see. There's an interesting decision coming up. Does South Carolina try to go aggressive? No, it looks like they're trotting their quarterback off the field. So I was going to ask if South Carolina was going to go for it and be aggressive, or if they were going to punt the ball. Looks like the answer is that they're going to punt the ball. So a quick series of 2 drives goes absolutely nowhere for South Carolina. Yeah, the one play interception and the one play interception that went for a pick 6, and then South Carolina got forced into a 3 and out on that previous drive. Punt was received right around the 30-yard line and fair caught. So when the game comes back, Alabama will have the ball 1st and 10 right around their own 30-yard line. Now, Alabama went 3 and out on their first offensive drive. The score is kind of deceiving. Let's see if Bama can move the ball here now that the defense has probably given the offense some confidence. 1st and 10, Simpson in shotgun. Looks to throw deep. Incomplete. Had a man, but he just managed to overthrow Ryan Williams. 2nd and 10 for Alabama. Not too often you see Alabama throw deep on 1st down with the lead. So I'm kind of shocked by the play call there. I guess maybe they were trying to get South Carolina to be shocked there. I don't know. Here he goes. 2nd and 10. Simpson in shotgun. Hill in the backfield as running back. Quick throw out. Don't see what happened there. It was number 11, Scott, on the play, but it wasn't really a big gain. Officially ruled 3rd and 4 for Alabama. Simpson alone in shotgun here on 3rd down. Now Hill comes to join him in the backfield. Simpson looks to throw, throws it out, incomplete, intended for Scott again, but he couldn't hold on to it. 4th and 4, and Bama is going to punt it away. Bama offense having trouble finding its rhythm so far on the first 2 drives. Luckily, Bama had some really good defense on the previous 2 South Carolina drives that gave them the 7-3 lead. Only touchdown so far in this game has been scored off of a pick 6 that was bobbled up in the air by the South Carolina receiver. Here we go. Punt is in the air. Blake Dowd again, the punter. And it is going to, he's going to return it to about the South Carolina 22-yard line, which is where South Carolina is going to have the ball when the action resumes. South Carolina had a real good time moving the ball on the first drive that ended in a field goal. But since then, it has been a 1-play interception return for a touchdown, followed by a 3-and-out. Here you go, 1st and 10. Sellers in the shotgun. Ball at the South Carolina 23-yard line. Sellers in the shotgun. Man in motion. Hands it off. Gets the first down and some. Number 1 for South Carolina. Gets about a 13-yard gain. 1st and 10, South Carolina. Might be a closer game than a lot of people expected. All right, here we go. 1st and 10 for South Carolina. Less than 2.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Sellers in the shotgun. Play whistle dead, but I didn't see. No, now I see the flag. False start against the Gamecocks. Yes, that's the actual name of the mascot for South Carolina is Gamecocks. South Carolina arguing that they called a timeout before the flag was thrown. They're not going to get it, though. Here we go. Back him up. 1st and 15. Sellers in the shotgun. Being chased out. Looks to throw. Has a man. Gets the first down. Way past the first down. Gets it to about the Alabama 35-yard line. 1st and 10, South Carolina. A big chunk play for South Carolina. Alabama had Sellers almost dead in the water in the backfield, but Sellers found the man right at the last second. Here we go. Clock ticks to just above a minute and a half to go in the first quarter. Sellers in the shotgun. Throws it. Incomplete. Alabama arguing that it was a fumble. Either way, it's still, whatever the ruling is, it's going to be 2nd and 10. I don't know. Was that enough to call it a fumble? I think he had possession long enough for it to be a fumble, but either way, it was recovered by South Carolina. So either way, it's 2nd and 10 for South Carolina. Sellers in shotgun. Snaps it just before the play clock went to 0. Now he has some time. But the hole closed up very quickly for maybe a 1-yard gain. 3rd and about 9 for the Gamecocks. Alabama trying to argue for a face mask or holding flag. Don't think they're going to get it, though. Here we go. Less than a minute to go in the first quarter. Sellers in the shotgun, joined by a tight end and the running back in the backfield. Looking to throw, throws it out, completed, but hit hard before he could get to the first down. Gain of about 4 or 5 on the carry, on the pass. And it looks like both teams are going to be content to take it into the second quarter. And that's what it looks like South Carolina is going to do, is they're going to take it to the second quarter. End of the first quarter to score Alabama 7, South Carolina 3. When we come back, it'll be 3rd and 4 4th and 3 for South Carolina. Just inside South Carolina's field goal range. So we'll see if South Carolina decides they want to go for it, or if they decide they're going to kick the field goal to bring it within a point. Let me take a quick break since it's at the quarter break, and I will be right back. Here we go. Game is back from a quarter break. 4th and 3. It looks like South Carolina is going to attempt a field goal. It's up and he missed it. Yep, he missed the field goal. So the score is going to remain 7-3. Alabama in the lead. And that's going to give Alabama the ball right around their 35-yard line. See if Bama's offense can move the ball. Had the distance, but it was just well to the right. $14:55 left to go in the second quarter to score. Alabama 7, South Carolina 3. Alabama takes over at the 30-yard line. Simpson in shotgun. Hands it off to Menard, who gets a hit immediately upon receiving the football. Going to cause about a 4-yard loss. Second and about 14 for Alabama. Also apologize if you're hearing a truck. My neighbor has a loud truck. Simpson would have kept it. He would have had some yards there, but they just zeroed in on Bernard. Here he goes, 2nd and 17. Simpson in the shotgun. Hands it off to Miller. Miller has some room. Gets around a little bit. Has the first down and some, but there's a flag on the play. Hold on. Flag flew. Might have been holding. Holding against Alabama. Repeat second down. Oh, yeah. I see where it was holding. It was number 71 for Alabama. So that's going to back him up after the impressive gain on second down. Repeats second down. Doesn't show the official down. The boy in the black hoodie. I didn't see it earlier. But here we go. 2nd and 25. Simpson alone in the shotgun. Throws it out. Batted down at the line. Brings up 3rd and 25 for Alabama. Might have to try a deep shot on this play. Alabama's only thrown deep once so far in the game, and it was incomplete. Here we go, 3rd and 25 for Alabama. Simpson alone in the shotgun. Looking to throw. Throws it. Complete to number 1, Horton. Short of the first, about 5 yards short of the first down, but there's a flag out. See who it's for. Could be holding against Bama, or it could be defensive holding. Apparently, there's no flag. Fourth and 6 for Bama. There's a review going on. So hold on. There's a review going on. I'm going to mute it and see what's going on. I don't even know what they're reviewing it for, so I'm going to mute it. 12 men on the field against South Carolina. That's going to bump the initial play up 5 yards. Brings up a repeat third down for Alabama. Official down distance is 3rd and 20 for Alabama here. Bailed out by a stupid mistake from South Carolina where they had 12 men on the field. Here we go. 3rd and 20. Simpson alone in the shotgun. Looking to throw, throws it complete to number 4, Hill. Hill has the first down and some before he's bumped out of bounds a little bit after getting the first down. First time on offense that Alabama's recorded a first down. Brings up 1st and 10 for Alabama after they were bailed out by South Carolina having 12 men on the field. First and 10 from the 41-yard line. Simpson in the shotgun. Simpson looking to throw. Flings it out. Complete to number 2, Ryan Williams, right around the South Carolina 35-yard line. 1st and 10 for Alabama. Clock is ticking to just over 12 minutes to go in the first half. Alabama hadn't had a first down prior to 2 plays ago. Now 2 consecutive first downs. Here we go. Simpson under center. Fakes the handoff. Now looks to throw. Sacked. And it's a fumble. South Carolina fell on it. Just running up from behind and knocked the ball out of Simpson's hands. Here's a replay. Strip sack, and then the South Carolina player fell right on it. Clear control. Yep, South Carolina football. So South Carolina is going to take over 1st and 10 when they come back from commercial break. Score updates: Missouri 3, Vanderbilt 0, Texas 7, Mississippi State 0. That's the SEC slate from the afternoon slot. See what's going on in the rest of the top 25. See if any weird upsets happened. Not really a lot of action going on, except that North Carolina kept it much closer to Virginia than a lot of people expected. Bunch of expected outcomes so far today in college football. Let's see what happens in this game. Currently at a commercial break. Take this opportunity to refill my drink. I'll be right back. Wait, sorry, I forgot I didn't mute the microphone. Here we go. On that first down play that gets it out for about a 15-yard gain. So it's another first down for South Carolina. First and 10, Sellers in shotgun. Pitches it out to his running back. Gets maybe a 2-yard gain on the play. It was number 28 for South Carolina with the ball there. Brings up 2nd and 8 for South Carolina. It was Fuller, the running back on the carry for South Carolina. Officially ruled 2nd and 9. Here he goes, 2nd and 9. Sellers in shotgun. Hands it off to Fuller. No, he faked the handoff to Fuller. Hurdles the guy, but he's managed to just get knocked down before he can get the first down. It was number 87, Hunt, on the reception for South Carolina. Brings up 3rd and a very short 1 for South Carolina. Handoff gets nowhere. Nowhere to go. Short of the first down for South Carolina. Brings up 4th and 1 in a very crucial decision. You're not in field goal range for South Carolina. Do you go up tempo, try to get Alabama to jump off sides? Do you try to sneak it upwards? Do you hand it off the middle? Or do you try something to catch Alabama off guard? Here we go. 4th and 1. Sellers in the shotgun. Tries to hand off the middle. Gets the first down and some. Gain of about 5. 1st and 10. South Carolina. Shane Beamer fired up at something. First and 10. Sellers in shotgun. Runs it up the middle. Gets absolutely nowhere. Actually lost about 4 yards on the play. Brings up 2nd and about 14 for South Carolina. Here we go, 2nd and 14. About 8.5 minutes to go in the first half. Sellers in the shotgun. Looking to throw. Throws it out. Incomplete. Bounced off a few players' hands before falling mercilessly to the ground. Brings up 3rd and 14 for South Carolina. South Carolina has a lot of plays in Alabama territory, but only has 3 points to show up for it so far. See if Bama can find a way to get South Carolina off the field right here. Not in field goal range, so I don't know what South Carolina would do if they get knocked off, if they don't get the first down here. Here we go. 3rd and 14. Sellers and shotgun. Men in motion there. Looking to throw. Gets sacked for a massive loss. No, he got shaked free. Gets free, but only manages about a yard on the play. Brings up 4th and 13 for South Carolina. Officially ruled 4th and 12 for South Carolina. Let's see what South Carolina decides they want to go with here. Sellers is still on the field, but absolutely nobody is moving. Timeout, South Carolina. 7:33 left to go in the second quarter. To score: Alabama 7, South Carolina 3. Yes, South Carolina tried to get Alabama off guard, but then decided they didn't know what they wanted to do. And so, therefore, they decided to take a timeout and think over what they want to do. And so far, no real exciting updates to bring you so far in the rest of the top 25 or in the SEC. Again, you do have the major game coming up. Number 4, Texas A&M versus number 20, LSU. Meanwhile, in this game, we have a game of absolutely no offense. Known touchdown so far came off of a bobbled up pick 6 in the first quarter. South Carolina drive so far went field goal, interception, return for a touchdown, punt, missed field goal. Alabama drives so far have ended in punts, except for the one that ended in a fumble. Here we are. Game is back from a commercial break. We'll see what South Carolina elects to do here on the 4th and 13 from right around their own 30-yard, from right around the Alabama 30-yard line. And they decide to leave the kicker on the sideline. So here you go. 4th down and 12. 4th and 12. Sellers in shotgun. Looks like he's trying to change the play for some reason. Now he goes back into the shotgun. Bama crowding the line. Takes the snap. Looking to throw. Throws it out. Complete. Number 17. Brings up 1st and 10 for South Carolina. Jay Sellers. There's 2 Sellerses. There's the quarterback, Lenore Sellers, and then there's receiver Sellers. So the quarterback Sellers got it to the receiver Sellers, brings up 1st and 10 from right around the Alabama 12-yard line. Bama's red zone defense has been impeccable this season. Let's see if they can find a way to stop South Carolina and prevent them from getting points here. Here we go. Sellers in shotgun. Tries to get it up the middle. Has a little bit of room. Touchdown, South Carolina, but there's a flag on the play. Flag on the play. South Carolina walking back as if they know it's going to be on them. Holding against South Carolina negates the touchdown. Repeat 1st and 10, 1st down. Holding was against number 51 of the Gamecocks, and that one looked clear like he made him fall as he was trying to get the sack on Sellers there. That's going to bring up 1st and 20. Ball spotted right around the Alabama 22-yard line. Ooh. South Carolina head coach Shane Beamer had to be warned to get back onto the sideline before the play was snapped. Here we go. Ball right around the Alabama 24-yard line. 1st and 20 for South Carolina. Sellers in the shotgun. Hands it off. No, he faked the handoff. Then gets it to his receiver, who's actually going to be met up for a 1-yard loss on the play. Flag down on the play. Might be a late hit against Alabama. Yeah, they're calling it on the suplex for Alabama. Brings up an automatic 1st down for South Carolina. Personal foul against Alabama. Kalen DeBoer not happy. I don't know if he's yelling at the player or if he's yelling at the ref. Anyway, 1st and 10. Ball spotted at the Alabama 12-yard line. Sellers alone in the shotgun. Play whistle dead for some reason. Now they say let him play. Here he goes. Sellers in shotgun. Flag flies right in the direction of holding. I assume this is Sellers on the actual play got back to the line of scrimmage, but nothing else. But it looks like they're about to call a holding, and they do. Holding against South Carolina. So replay 1st down. So 3 consecutive plays with penalties. You had a holding against South Carolina, followed by personal foul against Alabama, and then you get a holding again against South Carolina. And it happened in the backfield too. So we'll see if they spot it 10 yards. Okay, 1st and 20. 1st and 20 for South Carolina. Ball spotted right around the Alabama 21-yard line. Sellers in shotgun. Pitches it out to his running back, who loses 3 yards on the play. It was Fuller who Sellers pitched the ball out to, but he was swarmed immediately after he got the ball pitched to him. Brings up 2nd and 23 for South Carolina. Sellers in shotgun. Looks to throw. Has some men closing in on him. Gets away from it, but it's an incomplete pass on the play. 3rd and 23 for South Carolina. Bama looked like they were expecting a deep pass on the play, but luckily adjusted it quick enough to where they were able to stop the short pass. Also helped that Sellers apparently had the sun in his eyes and he just overthrew his receiver. Here we go, 3rd and 23. 3rd and 23, Sellers in the shotgun. Looking for a man to throw to. Completes it to number 5. Gets about a 6 or 7 yard gain on the play. Brings up 4th down. Dingle was the number 5, was the receiver on the play. South Carolina going to send out their field goal unit on 4th and 15. Brings up a 34-yard kick attempt with about 4.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Kick is up right down the middle. 4:23 left to go in the second quarter. To score, Alabama 7, South Carolina 6. So far, a very low-scoring game, much lower scoring than we expected. We're once again at a commercial break, and when we come back, South Carolina will be kicking off to Alabama. Bama up by 1 point. Still on a commercial break here in the Alabama-South Carolina game. Turns out to be a much more interesting game than we thought it was going to be. Although if you're Alabama, you want to see a bigger score on that screen there. Here we are back for commercial break. Score once again, 4:23 left to go in the second quarter. To score, Alabama 7, South Carolina 6. Kickoff is fielded right around the 1 yard line. Number 11, Horton, gets to the 18-yard line, which is where Alabama's going to take over. Alabama yet to score on any offensive possession. Its lone score came off the pick six early in the first quarter. First and 10 from the 19-yard line. Simpson in shotgun. Throws it out to Bernard. Catches it. Hard to tell if he got the first down. Looked like he might have been tracked down a yard short of it. Officially ruled first and 10 for Alabama. Simpson took the snap, throws it out, completed it to Williams, who falls immediately. Another first down for Alabama. 2 consecutive first downs on this drive so far. Ball right around the Alabama 49-yard line, close to midfield. Simpson in shotgun, takes the snap, hands it off to Miller. Gains around 3 on the play. Brings up 2nd and 7 for Alabama as Alabama crosses midfield. Simpson in a shotgun. Incomplete. Bernard, the intended receiver, brings up 3rd and 7 for Alabama. Clock ticked to about 3:01 in the second quarter. Simpson in shotgun. Has to get the snap off, gets it. Caught by Heel. Gets first down and some. He's rolling. Officially ruled down at the 5-yard line, though I wouldn't be surprised they move it back about 10 yards. Either way, way more than enough for the first down. Officially ruled 1st and goal at the 5-yard line. Trying to see, though, where, if ever, Heel stepped out of bounds. Not really conclusive there that he stepped out of bounds before the 5-yard line. See if this angle can give any more conclusive. It was not. 1st and goal. Simpson in the shotgun. Takes it himself. Down at the 2-yard line. 2nd and goal for Alabama. And that's going to bring us to the 2-minute timeout. 2 minutes left to go in the first half. The score, Alabama 7, South Carolina 6. Alabama will have the ball at the South Carolina 2-yard line when the play comes back. Whoops. Still at a commercial break here in the Alabama versus South Carolina game. Finally back from commercial break. Second and goal for Alabama from the 2-yard line. Simpson in shotgun. Why is there a lineman in shotgun with Simpson? Hands it off to the lineman and gets tripped. No gain on the play. Brings up third and goal for Alabama. And it looks like South Carolina might have just taken its second time out of the half. Clock not moving. Still no explanation as to why the clock stopped. South Carolina nor Alabama took a timeout. Here we go. Simpson and shotgun. I would assume Bama would go for it if they don't get it here. Simpson throws it out. Caught out of bounds by Williams. Brings up fourth and goal for Alabama. What do you do if you're Alabama? Do you try to go aggressive? Do you maybe see if Simpson can run it himself? We'll get our answer in just a few seconds here. Fourth and goal. Simpson in the shotgun. Looks to pass. Throws it. Complete. Touchdown, Alabama. First offensive touchdown for Alabama so far in the game. And it's number 80, Josh Cuevas. Gets the 3-yard touchdown from Simpson. And pending the extra point, Alabama will be up 14-6. Extra point is in the air, and it is good. So at 1:45 left to go in the second quarter to score Alabama 14, South Carolina 6. Alabama will receive the second half kickoff. So if Alabama can force a quick 3 and out, that's a chance for them to potentially double up and really make it hard for South Carolina to catch up. South Carolina really not having a lot of offensive success, but does have 2 field goals so far. Meanwhile, Alabama with the 1 touchdown offensively of the game so far, but did have the pick 6 return for a touchdown earlier. Here we go. Kickoff is in the air. And it's going to go into the end zone touchback. Key story of the game for both teams has been missed opportunities after missed opportunities. South Carolina could have been up, if not tied, with Alabama so far. But you had the missed field goal earlier. You had 2 opportunities deep in the red zone where South Carolina shot themselves in the foot. One, they couldn't just go anywhere offensively, and the other, they had penalties. Meanwhile, Alabama could have been up about 28-6 so far, but just has not been able to find an opportunity to move the ball. Here we go. 1st and 10 from the 25-yard line. Sellers in shotgun, looks to throw. Going to get sacked for a big loss on the play. Loss of about 7 on the play brings up 2nd and 17 for South Carolina. Alabama takes their first time out of the half. Yes, Alabama's looking potentially to try and double up if they can get a quick 3 and out. Actually, may have even been the loss of more than 10 on the play. Depends on where they officially spot it. 2nd and 19. Clock after the timeout is at 1:39 left to go in the first half. '26th time this year that Noah Sellers, quarterback South Carolina, has been sacked. Second most in college football. Here he goes, 2nd and 19. Sellers in the shotgun. Takes a snap, looking to throw. Incomplete, intended for number 27. Brings up 3rd and 19 for South Carolina, and Alabama will not have to use the timeout because remember, the incomplete pass is going to stop the clock. Third and 19 for South Carolina. Sellers by himself in the shotgun. Good protection. Throws it incomplete, almost intercepted. Brings up 4th and 19 for South Carolina, and South Carolina are going to be forced to punt from deep in their own territory. So Alabama will have the ball now with 1:30 left to go and 2 timeouts. Remember, Alabama does get the ball to start the second half. So chance potentially for Alabama to double up. In that case, it would end up being 28-6 by the next time South Carolina would touch the ball. Mason Love, the punter for South Carolina. Cole Adams, the returner for Alabama. Punt is in the air, and it's going to go out of bounds right around the Alabama 25-yard line. Minute 23 left to go and 2 timeouts for Alabama. Simpson in shotgun. He'll win them in the backfield. Looking to throw is Simpson. Simpson throws it out for number 11, Scott, but it's incomplete. 2nd and 10 for Alabama. (126) passing yards for Alabama, but no official rushing yards. Here he goes, 2nd and 10. Simpson in shotgun. Looking to throw, throws it out to Cuevas. Gets about 8 on the play. 3rd and 8 for Alabama. Alabama going to save the 2 timeouts and just hurry up to the line. Simpson alone in the shotgun. Throws it out to Williams. Williams gets the first down and is able to get out of bounds. First down, Alabama, with 51 seconds left to go in the first half. Ball spotted at the Alabama 48-yard line. 1st and 10. Simpson in shotgun. Throws it deep. Intended for Williams. Incomplete. Thought we were going to get a flag for pass interference, but we're not. Brings up 2nd and 10 for Alabama. Second and 10, Simpson in shotgun, looking to throw. Throws it out to number 4, Hill. Gets about 9 yards on the play. 3rd and 1 for Alabama. And I assume this is going to mean Alabama takes its second time out of the half, and Alabama does. 33 seconds left to go in the first half. We assume that means Bama's going to take 2 shots to the end zone on these next 2 plays. Here we go. 3rd and 1. Simpson in shotgun. Takes a snap, looks to throw. Batted up and luckily just falls mercilessly to the ground. Brings up 4th and 1 for Alabama. Bernard, the intended receiver, but the ball was swatted away by 2 South Carolina defenders on the play. 4th and 1 with 27 seconds left to go in the first half. Alabama does keep their offense on the field. Here we go. Simpson in shotgun. Able to get the first down. 19 seconds left to go in the second quarter. At least it ensures that South Carolina won't touch the ball again until a little bit later in the half. Throws it. Simpson looking for Bernard, incomplete. Alabama wants a flag, but it's not going to get it. 6 seconds left to go in the second quarter. You assume Bama's just going to take a shot to the end zone here. Low risk, high reward situation here. Here we go. Timeout, Alabama. No, excuse me. Final timeout, South Carolina. All right, here we go. Action resumes after the South Carolina timeout. Simpson alone in the shotgun. Throws it out, incomplete with 2 seconds left to go in the second quarter. Brings up 3rd and 10 for Alabama. Was looking to get it to Bernard, but he overthrew him. Timeout, Alabama. Here we go, 3rd and 10 officially. Though, if Alabama wants to score, you might as well say it's 3rd and 40. 2 seconds left to go in the second quarter. Here we go, Simpson in the shotgun. Throws it out in the flat to Bernard. Bernard looking, trying to get around the corner. Scuffle going on. And nothing doing. Brings us to the end of the first half. The score, Alabama 14, South Carolina 6. Alabama will receive the ball to start the second half. Alabama good defensively, but they need to find a way to keep Sellers from getting into the red zone. Offensively, for Alabama, you need to find a way to start moving the ball. You only got one touchdown offensively. Thank goodness the defense bailed you out by getting that interception that turned into a touchdown. Some minor kinks you need to work out if you're Alabama in the second half. A lot closer than what I expected in the first half. Bama really only scored twice. You had the interception return for a touchdown in the first quarter. Then a little bit late in the second quarter, you have the touchdown from Simpson to Cuevas. That's really all to write home about for Alabama. But thank goodness we have a 14-6 lead, because South Carolina cannot find a way to wrap up possessions in the end zone. But even then, the defense has been allowing Lenore Sellers to get free at times he shouldn't. And that's the reason why South Carolina has any points on the board, is because South Carolina had those two drives that ended in the red zone and got a field goal out of it. Can Alabama find a way defensively to keep Lenore Sellers from getting yards? Can Alabama find a way offensively to move the ball? We'll see. But hopefully we can find a way and get through this game without losing to yet another unranked team in the era of DeBoer. Come on, Bama. You got them where you want them, but you got to make some improvements if you want to hold on to this lead. Come on. All right, there's the short that I just recorded. I'm going to post it, and probably going to take a break. All right, so look out for the short for halftime. I just set it to post. Hopefully, I didn't accidentally set it to private like I did the last time. Um, keep a lookout for it. Should be uploading within the next couple minutes. Meanwhile, for the rest of the half, I will be taking a quick break. All right, here we are back from the halftime break. Alabama set to receive the second half kickoff. Score at the start of the second half, Alabama 14, South Carolina 6. Kickoff is in the air. Not too much distance on the kickoff. And it's returned to the Alabama 35-yard line. 1st and 10 for Alabama. Looks like South Carolina might have tried to get it back on their own side or get it, but the gamble didn't really go that well. Here we go, 1st and 10. Ball at the Alabama 35-yard line. Simpson alone in shotgun. Now Miller comes back to join him. Hands it off to Miller. Miller broke free from one tackle, but couldn't get past another. About a 4-yard gain on the first down carry. 2nd and 6 for Alabama. Only 6 rushing yards for Alabama, but they have 171 passing. 2nd and 10, 2nd and 6, Simpson in shotgun. Hands off to Miller. Miller tries to run out on the outside, gets about a 4-yard gain on the play. 3rd and 2 for Alabama. Officially ruled 3rd and 3 for Alabama. Here we go, 3rd and 3. Simpson in shotgun. Takes a snap. Looks to throw. Throws it out to Williams. Looks like he caught it. But the question is, where did he catch it at? Caught it a yard short of the first down. No, excuse me. That was Bernard who caught the ball, not Williams. Brings up about 4th and about 2 inches. So what do you do if you're Bama? Do you go for it? Try to be aggressive in the second half? Looks like Bama's going for it. Play whistle down. Looked like they were in the Wildcat right there. Don't exactly know what they whistled it for. Screen frozen. Still trying to find out what happened. Oh, were they reviewing to see if he caught it? No, they gave him a first down. Simpson in the under center. Rolls out to his right. Now runs it. He's got a little bit of room. Spins free of a tackler. Tackle just shy of the first down. Brings up 2nd and 1 for Alabama. Or are they reviewing it once again? Officially ruled 2nd and 1 for Alabama. So no, they're not reviewing it. Here he goes. Simpson under center. Looking to throw deep. Incomplete. About two or three different South Carolina defenders look to intercept it. Instead, it falls most mercilessly to the ground in the end zone. Brings up 3rd and 1 for Alabama. Scott, number 11, was the intended receiver, but it was well overthrown. Here we go. 3rd and 1. Simpson hands it off to Hill. Hill loses a yard. Brings up 4th and 2 for Alabama. I don't know why you wouldn't have tried Miller on the outside. Anyway, here we go. 4th down. 4th down and 2 to go for Alabama. Here we go. Simpson under center. Throws it as he's getting hit. Caught by Williams. No, he dropped it as he hit the ground. Dropped it as he hit the ground. Turnover on downs for Alabama. That brings us to a commercial break, and we come back. It'll be 1st and 10, South Carolina. Here we go, back for commercial break. First and 10 for South Carolina. 11:08 left to go in the third quarter. Score Alabama 14, South Carolina 6. Sellers in shotgun. Looks to throw. Throws deep. It is caught. Touchdown, South Carolina. Nick Harbor with the 54-yard touchdown. See if South Carolina decides to go for two here. Tie the football game. Looks like South Carolina is going for it. They get it, they tie the game. If not, it's a 2-point game. Timeout, South Carolina. Here we go with a 2-point conversion attempt. Sellers in the shotgun. Looks to throw. Off the hands of the intended receiver. Looking for Jay Sellers, the receiver. But he doesn't get it. So Alabama will hold a 2-point lead. 10:59 left to go in the third quarter to score Alabama 14, South Carolina 12. Exact same score that it was last year at halftime. Alabama, if they get the touchdown and an extra point, could make it a 2-score game. One play drive there for South Carolina puts them 2 points away from the lead. Alabama still holds it. See if Alabama can regroup their offense on this coming drive and can regroup their defense. Kickoff fielded at the 5-yard line. First and 10, Alabama. That drop from Ryan Williams was the difference maker there. Dropped it and then dropped it on the fourth down. Then South Carolina with the one-play touchdown. See if Alabama can move the ball down the field in this possession here. Starting at their own 25-yard line. Simpson in shotgun. Hands it off to Hill. Hill going to be stopped behind the line. 2nd and 11 for Alabama. Ryan Williams coming back into the game for Alabama. Here we go. 2nd and 11. Simpson and shotgun. Fakes the handoff to Hill, then throws it. Complete. No. Fell to the ground upon the contact. Edwards, the intended receiver, number 81. Brings up 3rd and 11 for Alabama. Alabama 5 of 10 on 3rd down. Here he goes. Simpson shotgun. Throws it out. Incomplete. Brings up 4th and 11 and punt for Alabama. Punt for Alabama is in the air. Ends up rolling out of bounds right around the 15-yard line, which is where South Carolina will take over. Here we go. Game is back from commercial break. Both teams looking very lackluster so far. Here we go. 1st and 10, Sellers and shotgun. Looking around to throw, throws it off the hands of a few Alabama defenders before it falls out of bounds. 2nd and 10 for South Carolina. Second and 10. Sellers in the shotgun. Hands it off. Number 1 for South Carolina gets about 2 yards on the play. 3rd and about 8 for South Carolina. Officially ruled 3rd and 7 for South Carolina. South Carolina, 2 of 9 on 3rd down so far. Here we go. Sellers in shotgun. Has some protection. Gets the 1st down and some. Threw it out to number 5 for South Carolina. 1st and 10, South Carolina. Clock ticking to just above 9 minutes left to go in the 3rd quarter. Sellers takes the snap, hands it off to number 1. Maybe gets back to the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 10 for South Carolina. Hands it off again. No, this time he took it himself. Incomplete pass on the play. 3rd and 9 for South Carolina. Trying to go up tempo to try and fool Alabama. Did not work out there. Flag on the play. Flag came out unusually late here. Ineligible receiver downfield against the Gamecocks. Penalties decline. Brings up 3rd and 9 for South Carolina. Sellers in the shotgun. Looking to throw. Hit as he threw it, and it's incomplete. Alabama. Oh, no. Alabama trying to argue that they pushed Sellers before he threw the ball, causing it to fumble. Either way, it's a beneficial thing for Alabama here. Bama are trying to argue that he didn't complete the pass or complete the motion. Not going to get to win the argument. 4th and 9, South Carolina forced to punt. Good defensive stand there by Alabama, especially after allowing the long touchdown earlier in the quarter. Punt's going to roll out of bounds at the Alabama 25-yard line. 1st and 10 for Alabama. South Carolina so far really good against the Alabama run game that normally is on its game in these kinds of games. See if Alabama can figure out something in the South Carolina defense, or if Alabama starts to turn to the air more. Simpson and shotgun. Miller back in the game at running back. Throws it out to Williams. Gain of about 6 on the play. 2nd and 4 for Alabama. Clock ticks to below 8 minutes left to go in the third quarter. Here we go. Simpson and shotgun. Officially rolled 2nd and 3. Simpson throws out to Miller. Miller still on his feet. Gets the first down. Plus about 2 yards. Flag flew late. Hands to the face against the Crimson Tide. Back up Alabama about 5 yards. Remains 2nd and 10 for Alabama. I should say remains 2nd down for Alabama. Second and 18 officially for Alabama. That's a big backing up there. Usually hands to the face is only a 5-yard penalty. Simpson takes a snap. Throws it out. Miller gets about a 7-yard gain on the play. 3rd and 11 for Alabama. Wouldn't be surprised if Simpson tries to throw it deep here. Simpson by himself in the shotgun. In and out of the hands of Bernard. Brings up 4th and 11, and Alabama's going to have to punt it. Alabama not finding good ways to move the ball, although they somehow still holding on to the 2-point lead. I think Alabama's trying to argue that the South Carolina defender was holding Bernard, but no flag flew on the play. Here comes the punt. Blake Dowd punts it. It's going to roll to around the South Carolina 24-yard line. A little bit of a shoving match going on after the play. South Carolina going to get the ball at their own 24-yard line with 6:31 left to go in the third quarter to score Alabama 14, South Carolina 12. Other major games going on right now. Vanderbilt 10, Missouri 3. That is in the beginning of the fourth quarter. Now it's tied 10-10 in the Missouri Vanderbilt game. Upset alert going on Unranked Mississippi State at halftime has the 24-14 lead over number 22 Texas. Texas might effectively be eliminated from the playoffs if they lose this game, if they lose that game. Here we go, back from commercial break. 1st and 10, South Carolina. Sellers in the shotgun. Gets chased. Slips out of a tackle. Gains about 5 yards on the play. 2nd and 5 for South Carolina. They had a big opportunity to get Sellers behind the line, but a player missed the tackle. Here we are. 2nd and 5. Sellers in shotgun. Pitches it out. Gets the first down. 1st and 10, South Carolina. First and 10. Sellers in the shotgun. Runs it up the middle. Gets about a 2-yard gain on the play. 2nd and 8 for South Carolina. Sellers takes the snap. Looks to throw. Gets past the big hole of defenders. 1st and 10, South Carolina. Alabama's formation left the big hole for Sellers to run through. Here we go. 1st and 10. Sellers in shotgun. Throws it to number 17, Jefferson. No, I'm sorry. That's Jay Sellers. I'm sorry. Gain of about 7 on the play. 2nd and 3 for South Carolina. Sellers in shotgun. Hit as he threw. Incomplete. 3rd and 3 for South Carolina. Apparently, there was some miscommunication on the South Carolina offense. Sellers tried to throw it to somebody. Apparently, he stopped before he was supposed to stop. 3rd and 3. 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. South Carolina 3 and 11 on first down. Here we go. 3rd and 3. Sellers in shotgun. Hands it off. Gets the first down and some. Gain of about 5 on the play. 1st and 10, South Carolina. Remember, a field goal gives South Carolina the lead here. And South Carolina is knocking right on the door of field goal range. Ball currently sitting at the Alabama 33-yard line. Here you go, 1st and 10. Sellers in the shotgun. Hands it off. Gets about a 3-yard gain on the play. Flag flew right at the end of the play. Holding against South Carolina. Backs them up 10 yards. 1st and 20 for South Carolina. Sellers in the shotgun. Gets back to about the original line of scrimmage. Brings up 2nd down and about 10 for South Carolina. Sellers in shotgun. Hands it off. Gets about a 3-yard gain on the play. Third and 6 for South Carolina. Sellers in the shotgun. Throws it. Incomplete. South Carolina trying to lobby for a pass interference, but the ball had already been tipped by the time the defender got to the intended receiver. Brings up 4th and 6 for South Carolina. And it looks like South Carolina decided to trot out their field goal unit. Field goal would give South Carolina a 15-14 lead. He's 2 of 5 on the season so far, is South Carolina's kicker. It's up and it is good. With 1:38 left to go in the 3rd quarter, to score South Carolina 15, Alabama 14. This is not unlike the position Alabama was in last year when they were playing South Carolina. South Carolina did have a lead in the mid-second half last year when they played Alabama. Alabama looks like they have to do something similar to last year against South Carolina in order to win this game and avoid losing to an unranked team for the 2nd time this season. Kickoff is in the air, goes back out the end zone. 1st and 10, Alabama from their own from their own 25-yard line. Bama with a stagnant offense so far in the second half. Alabama only has 37 yards in the entire first half so far. Here we go. Simpson and shotgun. Hands it off to Miller. Loss of about 3 on the play. 2nd and 13 for Alabama. Officially ruled 2nd and 12. Here we go. Simpson in the shotgun. Throws it out. Caught. Gets about a gain of about 6 on the play. Clock ticks to a minute left to go in the third quarter. Officially ruled 3rd and 7 for Alabama. Simpson in the shotgun. Throws it deep to Williams. No, that's Bernard. I'm sorry. Incomplete pass. 4th and 7 for Alabama, and they're going to have to punt again. Looks like it could have called pass interference on the play, but no flag was thrown. Punt is up in the air. First and 10, South Carolina. Sellers in shotgun, hands it off. No, he takes it himself. Gets a gain of about 6 on the play. 2nd and 4 for South Carolina, assuming. And yes, they're going to take it to the fourth quarter. End of the third quarter, the score South Carolina 15, Alabama 14. Alabama's going to need a big fourth quarter if they're going to win this game. Still waiting to come back from a commercial break. Here we go. It's the beginning of the all important fourth quarter here. Beginning of the fourth, South Carolina 15, Alabama 14. Second and 4 for South Carolina. Sellers in the shotgun. Gets about a 2-yard gain on the play. 3rd and 2 for South Carolina. Officially ruled 3rd and 4 for South Carolina. Here we go. Can Alabama get South Carolina off the field here? Sellers in shotgun. Sellers looks to throw. Throws it out in the flat. Completes to number 1. But he is going to lose a lot of yards on the play. Loss of about 3 on the play. Brings up a punting situation for South Carolina. Alabama showing some signs of life, even though they're down by 1. This is where Alabama wins these kinds of games, is in the fourth quarter. Mason Love, the punter for South Carolina. Cole Adams looks to return it for Alabama. Punt is in the air. Mishap on the punt. South Carolina football. Surprised they didn't throw a flag for kick catch interference. Bounces off the foot of the Alabama player, then went up and bounced off his knee. This is going to stand. South Carolina is going to get the football probably around the Alabama 25-yard line. Play whistle dead. Now they're going to tell them let him play. Here we go. 1st and 10 for South Carolina at the Alabama 30-yard line. Hands it off. Gains about 2 on the play to Fuller. 2nd and 8 for South Carolina. Sellers took the snap. Gains. I think he was down when he fell down. Brings up about 3rd and 1 for South Carolina. Third and one. Sellers in the shotgun. Hands it off to Fuller. Gets the first down. Time now becoming an issue here. Touchdown and extra point would make it to where Alabama would have to score a touchdown and a 2-pointer just to tie the game. So if you're Alabama, you want to at least hold South Carolina to a field goal here. Sellers in the shotgun, took the snap, pitches it out to the running back. Gain of about 8 on the play, 2nd and 2 for South Carolina. This is feeling a lot like deja vu and not in a good way. They has to come up with something here and then have to come up with something on offense. A field goal makes it to where the field goal by Alabama would do absolutely nothing. Here we go, 2nd and 2. Sellers in the shotgun. Hands it off. Knocked short of the first down. Brings up 3rd and 1 for South Carolina. Sellers runs it. Touchdown, South Carolina. That might have just put the dagger in the game. Would not be surprised to see South Carolina try to go for 2 here. Extra point is up and it is good. 10 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter to score. South Carolina 22, Alabama 14. Alabama on the ensuing drive would need a touchdown and an extra point to tie the game. Kickoff gets returned to about the 20-yard line. 1st and 10, Alabama. Alabama needing at least a touchdown to have any chance of winning the game. See if Alabama can find a way to get things going here on this drive. Here we go. 1st and 10, Simpson under center. Hands it off to Miller. Miller gains about 2 on the play. 2nd and 8 for Alabama. Simpson in the shotgun. Looks to throw. Throws it down the field. Incomplete. Intended for Bernard. 3rd and 7 for Alabama. Third and 7. Simpson in the shotgun. Fakes a throw, then throws it. Completes to Bernard. 1st down and out of bounds. First and 10. Simpson in the shotgun. Hands it off to Miller. Miller gains about 5 on the play. 2nd and 5 for Alabama. Officially ruled 2nd and 4 for Alabama. Simpson alone in the shotgun. Throws it out. Incomplete. 3rd and 4 for Alabama. Tried to get it to Bernard, but he couldn't hang on. Third and 4. Simpson takes a snap, throws it complete to Cuevas, gets the 1st down. Gain of about 5 on the play. 1st and 10, Alabama. First and 10. Simpson in the shotgun. Hands it off to Hill. Hill gets the 1st down plus a yard. Gain of 11 on the play. 1st and 10, Alabama. Simpson in shotgun. Throws it to Williams. Williams gets an 11-yard gain on the play. First and 10, Alabama. Simpson in shotgun. Throws it out to Hill. Hill. Gain of about 4 on the play. Brings up 2nd and 6 for Alabama. Second and 5. Simpson in the shotgun. Looks to throw, throws it to Riley. Gets the first down and some. Carries it out to the South Carolina 13-yard line. No, excuse me, that was Miller. First and 10, Alabama. Clock ticking to 4.5 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. Alabama needing a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to tie the game. Now, if you're Alabama, if you can score, you still would have your 3 timeouts plus the 2-minute timeout. Here we go. Simpson under center. Looks to run it himself. Runs it for about a 9-yard gain on the play. 2nd and 1 for Alabama. What I was trying to say was that if you can score, even if you don't get the 2-point conversion, you would still have all 3 of your timeouts. And depending on how you play your cards, you'd also get the 2-minute timeout. Here you go. Less than 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Simpson in the shotgun. Throws it to Miller. Miller gets the first down. Knocked out of bounds at around the 1-yard line. First and goal for Alabama. Think Bama's going to lose? Well, you have to have a convoluted series of events go the right way. First off, you need to get the touchdown. Then you have to go for 2. If Alabama scores a touchdown and I see the kicker come out, it's not going to look good. Here we go. Simpson in shotgun. Hands it off to Miller. Gets loss of about 2 on the play. 2nd and goal. Now you also have to wonder if you can even get in the end zone before the 2-minute timeout. Your only real chance is to get in the end zone with assuming you would fail to get the 2-point conversion. You have to get into the end zone before the 2-minute timeout. Here we go. Simpson in the shotgun. Looks to throw. Throws it to Bernard. Touchdown, Alabama, with 2:16 left to go in the fourth quarter. So the offense does its part. Hopefully, we can get a 2-point conversion. And it looks like Kalen DeBoer is going to send out the 2-point unit. If you get this, all you need to do is keep South Carolina from scoring. First 2-point attempt all season for Alabama. Two-point try is good. Successful pass to Cuevas. And that's going to knock the game up 22 with 2:16 left to go in the fourth quarter. South Carolina, when the ball when they get the possession, will have 2 minutes and 16 seconds. They would have 2 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning. It was a Wildcat to heel. Then he handed it off to Simpson, who then found Cuevas wide open in the end zone. And now we're at the situation. It is tied up 22-22 late in the fourth quarter. Alabama does have all 3 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning to work with to get the ball back and potentially avoid overtime. But your primary goal has to be keeping South Carolina out of field goal range and scoring any way possible. All right, here we go. Kickoff is in the air. And it's going to go back out the end zone. South Carolina getting the ball at their own 25-yard line, 1st and 10. Game tied up 22-22. Alabama has had a hard time keeping the South Carolina offense from moving the ball. They'll have to find some way to do so on this drive. Hold on, something went very weird on my side. Okay, I missed first. Okay, I missed something happened on first down. Looked like it was only about a 1 yard gain on the play, and that's going to bring us to the 2-minute timeout. 2 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter to score South Carolina 22, Alabama 22. When they come out from the 2-minute timeout, South Carolina will have the ball 2nd and 9. Ball at their own 26-yard line. Would not be too surprised if South Carolina tries to lull Alabama to sleep at a couple runs, then try to throw it deep on third down. You do still have plenty of time if you're Alabama to get the ball back with something to do and potentially a game-winning field goal to keep the game from going into overtime. However, you need to find a way, if you're the Alabama defense, to prevent South Carolina from moving the ball. You did a good job on whatever the heck just happened on the first down. Again, like my TV went weird and then came back after South Carolina after that first down play. All right, here we go. Crucial 2 minutes. The most crucial 2 minutes of the Alabama season so far. Forget anything that's happened in the Missouri game, in the Vanderbilt game, or the Georgia game. This 2 minutes that's about to happen in the South Carolina game is the most crucial 2 minutes, possibly in the SEC race, possibly in the playoff race. You can find a way to get South Carolina off the field. You at least guarantee a tie, or at least guarantee overtime is what I was trying to say. But if you can't, and you force, and South Carolina gets a field goal, now granted you do have 3 timeouts, so you could possibly get the ball back with about a minute left to go if South Carolina scores a field goal. But you need to do something on this drive here. You can't allow South Carolina to get into the end zone. That's the worst case scenario. So the question is, if you're South Carolina, what are you trying to do? Do you try to go aggressive and score? Or do you try to do more conservative and just get the field goal to try and win it with no time left? Alabama is going to have to go as aggressive on defense as they can. Try to get Sellers down in the backfield if they can. Possibly even intercept the ball and ensure South Carolina doesn't touch the ball again. South Carolina fans already lining up to storm the field in the event that they win the game in regulation or win the game, period. Here we go. 2nd and 9 for South Carolina. Two minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. Sellers in shotgun. That's going to force an offsides flag for Alabama. So don't look at what just happened, because there's going to be a 5-yard move up because Alabama jumped into the neutral zone. Brings up 2nd and 4 for South Carolina. Now you just made your job even more difficult if you're Alabama on this drive. And in case you're wondering what actually happened, it was an incomplete pass. But that's not going to matter because of the jump off sides. Here we go. 2nd and 4, Sellers in shotgun. Sellers looks to run the ball. Only gets about 2 yards on the play. Brings up 3rd and 2 for South Carolina. Oh, Alabama pointing as if they got a fumble. Alabama pointing as if they got a fumble. Alabama, turn. Turn. Don't look now. That might have been a turnover. If it is, Alabama has the football and can do anything they want. And that is a fumble. That is a fumble. Sellers' knee was not down. Sellers' knee was not down on the play. Alabama football. Golden opportunity for Alabama, potentially to put the game away. Turnover automatically reviewed, but I think it's going to be Alabama football. I think it's going to be Alabama football. I'm gonna mute the mic just to see what's going on. Call on the field if a fumble is upheld. Alabama gets the ball. 1st and 10, Alabama. Minute 39 left to go in the game. Score tied 22-22. Now, South Carolina does still have 2 timeouts, so you got to play smart if you're Alabama. You need at least 1 first down if you want to hit a walk-off field goal. You have to play smart if you're Alabama. First, you need to get it into the range of the kicker, which would be about the 28-yard line. You need at least 1 first down regardless. Here we go. Minute 39 left to go. 1st and 10. Simpson in shotgun. Hands it off to Miller. Miller still on his feet. Gain of about 8 on the play. 2nd and 2 for Alabama. This football game just turned completely on its head. What a way for the Alabama defense to turn this game almost completely on its head. Clock ticking to about 1:14 left to go in the 4th quarter. Connor Tulty, kicker for Alabama, already warming up on the sideline. Bama trying to chew as much clock as they can before trying to win it with a walk-off field goal. Simpson in the shotgun, looks to throw, throws it, complete. Scott on the reception gets the first down. South Carolina takes a timeout with 54 seconds left to go in the ball game. Second timeout, South Carolina. Clock stops with 50 seconds left to go in the 4th quarter, potentially the ball game. If you're Alabama, you want to get it as close as you can. If you can somehow get it in the end zone and salt the game right there, that's the ideal situation. But you at least want to get it in range for your kicker, Tulty, and win the game with a walk-off. Still waiting for the game to come back from timeout. Right, if you're just joining in, 50 seconds left to go in the game, tied 22-22. Alabama has the ball deep in South Carolina territory. Could look to either put a dagger on the game or get a field goal. How long is this commercial break going to be? In case you're just tuning in, it was a fumble by South Carolina that put Alabama in South Carolina territory. Now, with 50 seconds left to clock officially got put 4 seconds now back on. 54 seconds left to go. Ball at the South Carolina 25-yard line. 1st and 10. Simpson under center. Throws it out to Williams, complete. But nowhere to go after catching it. 2nd and 10 for Alabama. Now you are in field goal range. You can play as conservative as you want. Try to chew as much clock as you want off the clock. South Carolina takes their second timeout with 46 seconds left to go in the 4th quarter. A first down would essentially guarantee South Carolina is not going to touch the ball again, at least not in regulation. Connor Talty, 6 of 6 inside 40 yards. Longest kick of his career, 46 yards. Here we go, 2nd and 10, 46 seconds left to go in the 4th quarter. Simpson in the shotgun. Completes it. No, they're ruling it incomplete. And that's going to stop the clock with 42 seconds left to go. 3rd and 10 for Alabama. Sorry, I had to stand up and adjust positions there. Intended for number 11, Scott, but he couldn't hang on to the ball. 3rd and 10. If you're Alabama, you want to try and keep this next play in bounds. If you keep the clock running, you could potentially take it down to about, okay, what the hell just happened here? Timeout, Alabama. You could potentially chew the clock down to about 20 seconds left to go in the game. And if you make the field goal, that would mean South Carolina would only get the ball back with about 20 seconds left to go. Ideally, you want the first down. But you also, if South Carolina is to get the ball back, you want them to have as little time as possible to potentially tie, or if you miss the field goal, win the game. Bernard takes the Wildcat snap, gets it, gets the first down and some. Oh! Did he stay in bounds? Touchdown, Bama! Let's see. For sure, we have a first down. Depends on where he stepped out. I don't think he stepped out. I think he got the touchdown. In case you're wondering, that clock is now at 34 seconds left to go in the fourth quarter. And that's probably the amount of time South Carolina is going to have with no timeouts. So ideally, if you're Bama, you want to either sack Sellers or keep it to where, keep them between the lines. It's interesting to see what they go with here. Do they go for 2? Or do you kick the extra point? Because South Carolina, if they get the touchdown, could go aggressive and go for 2. Wait, why are we going directly to? I must have missed something. Oh, we did get it. We did get the kick. Oh, I'm sorry. 29-22 is the score. Oh, juggled it. Stopped at the kickoff return, stopped at around the South Carolina 8-yard line. That's where South Carolina is going to have the ball with 29 seconds left to go and no timeouts. Here we go. You have to assume South Carolina is going to go aggressive. So you're probably going to have some extra men deep to try and stop the deep pass. Here we go. 1st and 10. Sellers alone in the shotgun. Completes it to number 87, who is then stopped for about a 3-yard gain on the play. 2nd and 3 for South Carolina. You have to assume they're going to clock it here. Sellers spikes the ball. Brings up 3rd and 3 for South Carolina with 11 seconds left to go in the fourth quarter. Again, no timeouts left for South Carolina. Momentum was changed on the fumble by Sellers, which then led to Alabama getting the touchdown. Now Alabama's defense just had to keep South Carolina out the end zone for 11 seconds. Sellers in the shotgun, takes a snap, looks to throw. He's going to be sacked behind the line. That's going to do it. Alabama wins. Alabama wins the game 29-22 over South Carolina. Only the second time under the board that Alabama has beaten an unranked team on the road. Wasn't pretty, but Alabama does get a come from behind victory and wins the game to improve to 7-1 on the season, 5-0 in the SEC. Seven-game winning streak ever since the loss to Florida State in the opener. And Alabama somehow, despite all its miscues and a stagnant offense in the first half, comes away with a victory. All right. Thank you very much to those of you who tuned in and commented and interacted. No, for sure, no stream next week. Alabama's on a bye week. Next game is in 2 weeks against LSU. As of right now, I do plan to stream for Alabama versus LSU, but that is dependent on a couple of outside factors. I'll see you in the next stream, which more than likely looks like it's going to be the LSU game in 2 weeks. If not, then you probably have to wait for the Oklahoma game in 3 weeks. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you later. Alabama wasn't pretty, but got to win.